Ever feel like your best effort to manage the pressure disappears the moment the pressure hits for your team or for yourself? In this episode, I'm breaking down why mental toughness isn't about pushing harder or trying to will it in some way. Instead, it's about learning how to calm down your body before you even compete. You'll walk away with tips for yourself and for your team that are simple to regulate stress, stay focused, and perform consistently. That's the important part, right? Being consistent. And this is no matter what sport you are participating in or what level you are playing. Today, I want to talk about something that keeps coming up for me across all the different teams, different sports, different levels of play. Over the past 2 weeks, I've received a lot of messages after high pressure competitions. They came from coaches, they came from athletes themselves, they came from their parents. While the results were exciting, and I'm so proud of my teams, I love them all, the placements didn't really stand out. Not the trophies or the scores, although they do look pretty good in your hands. It was actually the timing of when things shifted. So instead of sharing the messages in a look what happened, my team scored this, that, and the other thing, look at all the trophies. And I will brag about them. I think it's important to celebrate our success. I want to use this so I can teach you how one thing applies to any sport, any athlete, any level. This is something I wish more people understood about mental toughness. We often talk about mental toughness as it's being this louder, stronger, more intense thing. And listen, I get it. Phrases like lock in, want it, more, push through, don't think, just do, whatever those team mantras are, I'm not against them as cue words, but what you need to know is there's a problem if you're just throwing out the word locked in. It doesn't mean anything unless you are trained how to do that. Most performance breakdowns, they're not happening because athletes don't care enough. I've heard people say, oh, they just don't care. They're being lazy. They don't try. Stop it. They happen because the nervous system is overloaded. You can't think your way out of a physiological state. Today's takeaway, if you get anything from this, it's a simple thing I want you to take, is that mental toughness is not about motivation under pressure. It's about regulation before pressure peaks. I'm going to use cheer nationals that happened in Florida this past weekend and the weekend before as my examples here. Not because I love them and it's more special than my other sports. Don't be coming at me in my DMs on Instagram or LinkedIn or all the places. But I'm using them because the pressure here is really obvious. And to be quite honest, I'm coming off 2 weekends of jumping on virtual calls where times were all scattered all over the place. We were doing stuff at night right before they jump on the bus to the arenas. And these examples are fresh in my mind. This month, I got to work with teams as they navigated through all of that. They're at nationals for these big weekends. There's 2 different teams. These are 2 different states, different formats, different divisions. One of these teams I worked with entirely virtually. So we've actually never met in person. The other team, we've had in-person sessions every month. And then I do some things virtually where I'll check in with them when they're doing their mental reps assignments. I also did virtual sessions with them at nationals when they were in their hotel rooms on site in the arenas. Both teams did that. What was consistent wasn't the routines or the skill level. As I said, different divisions, different weekends, all those things. Here's what's consistent here. Athletes were managing long days of stress, high adrenaline, waiting, this uncertainty. Did we make it through? And a lot of expectations, some that they put on themselves, some from the people who were there in their crowd, their family, friends, people who were cheering them on, their coaches. There's expectations, even the schools, right? They had these awesome send-offs, which I am here for. I love it. We carried some of that through to help us with mindset. But by the time they were close to the performances, many of them weren't nervous in the way we would usually think. They were overactivated. Heart rates are elevated. Breathing gets shallow here. Your attention is scattered. Your muscles can actually get tight. Some of them are not going to be eating properly. That happened in one situation, one of the weekends. Thoughts start looping. You're overthinking. This is not a mindset issue. It's actually a nervous system issue. Here's what we did before the performances. This is the core concept I want you to take from this episode. The body itself must feel regulated before your mind can perform. I need to repeat that for you. Your body has to feel regulated before your brain, your mind, can get into that performance if you want to perform at your best. Most mental training is taught after something goes wrong. In fact, many people find me and my services after something goes wrong. And that's okay. I always remind them we're not fixing you, you're not broken. But what I want to tell you is that when we try to say something to our team, whether it's a sports team, a corporate team, even your team in your classrooms, when I work with students, when you say, okay, we're going to reset after a mistake or shake it off, refocus, these are all useful. And I actually teach some of those words and teach tools to do that within your body, but they are reactive unless you have one of these tools, unless you've done this mindset training. You cannot just go into a mistake situation and then start to say, I'm going to throw in some mental toughness with my team. No. What actually is going to change the performance is that you are proactively helping them learn to regulate. This means that we're teaching athletes how to shift out of that stress state before they step on a field, a mat, a court, a track, anywhere. Before a mistake happens, they have to actually see it, visualize it, have productive self-talk, practice this breath work, practice all these different mental tools that I give them. Because once the nervous system is already in that overload, their fine motor skills, decision-making, timing, their awareness, it is all reduced. This is true in every single sport. So cheerleaders, football players I've worked with, soccer teams, swim, diving, basketball, volleyball teams, baseball, softball, track, dancers, golf teams, tennis players, lacrosse teams. And I'm not listing all of them to brag about all of these different teams and individual athletes that I've worked with. I'm just telling you that the sport changes, the nervous system does not. A moment that really captured this for me related to the timing happened just before a team was headed off to their performance. Their head coach sent me a stress level reading, and it was showing her whole day, elevated stress levels throughout the entire day. This wasn't just nerves. This is feeling activation in your body. About 15 minutes before the team left for the arena, we jumped on a call. And this was not a hype call. It wasn't a motivational speech. It wasn't reminders to be confident or just relax. It was regulation. We did breathing to downshift their body. We brought attention into detail so they could narrow in. I led them through a guided visualization so they could literally see exactly what would happen and how they would navigate through, how their body would adjust if something did come up, how they would bounce back. In a short window, 15 minutes while being on a call with me, her stress response, which was being tracked on her watch, and she was showing the data on the graph, it was at a spike at 6 o'clock, all-time high, right as we were getting on the call. And it shifted dramatically down into an engaged, controlled state. She texted me later after the performance. As I said, they were literally leaving my session, jumping on the bus, heading to the arena. And she said she just wanted to highlight that this had happened. I'm not necessarily saying, oh, look at these numbers, right? Look at this graph. I want you to pay attention to the timing because nothing changed externally. The competition was still happening. Their time was still happening when they had to be on that stage. The stakes were still high. What changed was her state. The best part about this, her athletes felt it for themselves too, and from her. Have you ever been in a pressure situation or a stressful situation that you can think of? Think of one right now. It doesn't have to be about sports. It can be anything in your life. Now think about maybe a time you were in a really stressful situation and someone was with you and they were the calm in the storm. And in reflection, you realize that that person's energy actually calmed you, right? I can think of so many times when this happened for me. It really also brings me back to a random story that is not sports related. It actually makes me think about my aunt. She used to say to me when people would say, "Oh, your babies are so calm. They don't really cry too much." A lot of people would say that to me, my aunts, uncles, different people, like in our friend groups, that our kids were chill when they were infants. And listen, do not think, "Oh, lucky you." My kids definitely had their moments. Teething was utter hell. But I really tried my best to stay calm. And she would say to me, "I know why your babies are so good." And I would joke, "Yep, yep, obviously I'm an amazing mom after a lot of coffee and I'm figuring it out as I go." I was being really honest there. And she would say, "No, no, seriously, they feel you're calm. I'm watching you as a mother." Again, we had our moments. There was some hot mess express moments, definitely. But if I do reflect, and when she said that to me, I was thinking, yeah, you know what? All of them were pretty chill babies. They slept pretty well. They really could be calmed down quite easily. And I really did do my best to stay calm in those moments. I used to actually think, okay, they're never going to be 5 months again. This sucks. This sucks that they're screaming, but I'm just going to stay calm here. And it really did calm me down. I had to calm my nervous system down, and they felt that energy. Now, we weren't tracking it like a graph, like my cheer coach here, but this nervous system regulation, it works everywhere. It works in schools, it works in sports, obviously, as I'm sharing with you. It works in my corporate space. I teach them these different skills, and I get messages from them too about our mindset in our team. It's just a different type of team, right? This works in all areas because your nervous system goes with you to all of those places. My cheer team that was at nationals this past weekend, they did amazing. The JV squad ended with a sixth place national trophy in hand. One of the cheerleaders on that team even sent me a message saying that JV hadn't made it to finals in 11 years. The varsity squad showed up to semis for both of their routines. In their prelims, they hit 0 with no deductions. Really, it was just an impressive weekend all around. But again, it's not just the placement. Of course, I love seeing the trophy in their hand. I was so happy for all of them. Their head coach sent me a message after the weekend telling me that she's been coaching for 7 years. And she expressed to me that it was really how her athletes handled the pressure this season while I was working with them and at nationals. She said at nationals, she's never seen a team that stayed calm, grounded, in control of their breathing, trusting themselves and their training, and that anxiety didn't take over. They were focused and they performed at their best. That's exactly what I'm talking about when I say performance improves when the body is regulated before the mind steps in. Nothing had changed externally. The competition was still there, and the competition was good. I was actually obsessed, and I watched on the live stream a lot of cheerleading over the past 2 weeks. The stakes, they were still high. What changed was their regulation, their physical state in their body. If you're a coach listening, this is why this matters. You can do everything right technically. You can prepare them physically. You can clean routines, plays, or make up strategies. If your athletes don't know how to regulate their nervous system, pressure will feel unpredictable. Their performance will be and feel inconsistent. The confidence levels, it will feel fragile for each one of them, even if they're not telling you that. Mental toughness is not about being fearless. It's about being steady. Steadiness is trained, just like the strength coach is strength training, just like endurance. This is a skill. If you're a coach, a parent on the boosters team thinking we should have this training, go down to my show notes, click on the link of my website, or send me an email that's also in the show notes, and we can just talk about your team. Here's the reframe that I want to leave with you. Stop asking, how do I get my athletes more confident? Start asking, do they know how to regulate their nervous system before they perform? Confidence is often a byproduct of regulation, not the other way around. I want to remind you that mental toughness isn't loud. This is not hype. It isn't something that you hope shows up when it matters. You don't try to throw it in after a mistake. It's trained. It's repeatable. It starts before the pressure peaks. That's the work, and that is the difference. Hey, coach, tell me if any of this sounds familiar. Your athletes, they're training hard, but when it's game time, their performance, it's just not matching up. Sometimes when they're making mistakes, they're looking in the stands, seeing the reaction from whoever's there as the fan club. That pressure's eating them up inside. There's team drama, excuses. Sometimes the parents are enabling the bad habits. Athletes who can't take feedback or they just don't believe in themselves. Heartbreaking. Meanwhile, you're feeling all of this stress piling up and you're starting to question if you should even keep coaching. Here's the truth. It's not a skills problem. It's not a you problem. It's a mindset problem. I work with teams as a mindset specialist, helping athletes handle that pressure, trust the training, and build confidence they need to actually perform so you can get back to your coaching and the team can get back to winning. So if you're tired of coaching through all that chaos, send me a DM. Let's get your team's head in the game, literally.
Thank you for hanging out with Kate today. And whether you're going to coach, teach, cheer from the sidelines, or hitting the field yourself, remember, mindset is everything. Don't forget to follow the show for the latest episodes, as we all need a little extra motivation, humor, and sanity in our busy lives. Now, go and unleash your champion within you, one step at a time. We're always rooting for you.